Hey, what's up everyone? It's great to see you here. Quick question, when you think of speeding up muscle repair overnight, your mind probably goes straight to omega-3 supplements, right? Well, today I want to flip that script. What if I told you there are two vitamins that, in many cases, can be even more effective for overnight muscle recovery, and that by focusing on them, you might get faster gains, less soreness, and better repair, all while keeping things safe and practical? Stick with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which two vitamins I'm talking about, how they work, and how you can start using them tonight if appropriate. Let's dive in. You know, we've all heard it 1,000 times. If you want faster muscle recovery, if you want to bounce back from workouts stronger than before, then just take your omega-3s, right? Fish oil capsules everywhere, morning, night, gym bag, kitchen counter. It's practically a ritual for fitness enthusiasts. But here's something I've noticed. We've started treating omega-3 like some kind of magical elixir for muscle repair, when in reality, it's just one small piece of a much bigger recovery puzzle. And if you've been training consistently, eating right, and still waking up sore, stiff, or not fully recharged, then maybe, just maybe, it's time to look deeper. Because there's something important that we've been missing. See, omega-3s have been hyped for decades, and for good reason. They're fantastic for heart health. They help modulate inflammation, and yes, they play a supportive role in recovery. But let's be honest here. If omega-3s were really the secret to overnight muscle repair, everyone taking them would be healing like superheroes by now. And that's not happening. Why? Because muscle recovery is a highly coordinated biological process. It's not just about reducing inflammation. It's about repairing damaged muscle fibers, replenishing glycogen, restoring electrolyte balance, and activating specific cellular pathways that tell your body, hey, let's rebuild stronger than before. Omega-3s alone can't do all that heavy lifting. Now, here's where people get it wrong. They think soreness equals inflammation, and inflammation equals something bad. But inflammation is your body's natural repair signal. If you completely blunt that process, as high doses of anti-inflammatory supplements might do, you could actually slow down adaptation. Your muscles need that initial inflammatory spark to trigger healing and growth. The trick isn't to block inflammation, it's to manage it, to fine-tune the body's natural rhythm so it repairs efficiently. Omega-3 helps modulate that, but it doesn't necessarily build or repair the muscle tissue itself. Think of omega-3 like the manager in a construction crew. It helps coordinate the repair team, but it's not the worker welding the steel beams or laying the concrete. The real builders are your amino acids, your vitamins, your minerals, the actual raw materials and tools. So when people ask me, Doc, I'm taking my fish oil every night, why do I still feel like my muscles aren't recovering fast enough? I tell them this: maybe your manager is on duty, but your workers haven't shown up yet. And here's something fascinating. Several new studies have shown that muscle repair depends heavily on micronutrients that most people overlook. These aren't trendy supplements or fancy powders. They're basic, essential vitamins that play critical roles in energy metabolism, protein synthesis, and collagen formation. The body can't repair muscle tissue effectively without them, no matter how much fish oil or protein you throw in. Yet, these deficiencies are everywhere, especially among active adults. Omega-3 deficiency isn't as common as people think anymore. A lot of us are getting it through fortified foods or occasional supplementation. But deficiencies in vitamins that regulate muscle cell turnover, mitochondrial repair, or connective tissue strength, those are rampant. That's why when you wake up after an intense workout and your muscles feel drained, rather than just sore, it's often not because you didn't get enough omega-3. It's because your cells didn't have the nutrients they needed to rebuild overnight. Now, don't get me wrong, Omega-3 still deserves a place in your diet. It supports joint health, cardiovascular function, even brain performance. But if we're talking about waking up with that feeling of strength restored, muscles relaxed, and ready to move, there are other nutrients that directly fuel that process. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack. Because replacing, or rather pairing omega-3 with the right two vitamins could completely change how your body recovers. You see, recovery isn't about supplements in isolation, it's about synergy. When you give your body the right combination, something to reduce unnecessary inflammation, something to boost collagen synthesis, something to support ATP production, the difference can be dramatic. You might start sleeping deeper, waking up less sore, performing better at your next session. And it's not magic. It's biology working efficiently. So if you've been wondering why your fish oil habit hasn't translated into faster recovery, don't worry. It's not that you've been doing something wrong. It's that you've been missing part of the equation. The next step is understanding which two vitamins can fill that gap, acting like the missing gears in your body's recovery engine. These aren't rare or exotic compounds. They're simple, accessible nutrients that, when optimized, can take your muscle repair to the next level. And before we go there, I want you to remember this. The goal isn't to chase supplements. It's to understand the science behind what your body actually needs to heal. Because once you align your nutrition with your body's repair mechanisms, you won't need to rely on overnight miracles. Your recovery will start feeling like it's on autopilot. All right, so let's talk about these two vitamins, the real game changers when it comes to overnight muscle repair. Now, most people hear the word vitamin and immediately think of something basic, something boring, right? Like, oh yeah, I get that from food, no big deal. But when you start digging into the biochemistry, when you look at what's actually happening inside your muscle fibers after a workout, that's when the magic starts to reveal itself. Because your body is running a complex 24/7 repair shop, and two vitamins in particular are quietly doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes. And no, I'm not talking about the usual suspects like vitamin C or B12, though they play their part. I'm talking about vitamin D and vitamin K2, two nutrients that most people overlook, yet they're absolutely essential for how efficiently your muscles recover, rebuild, and stay strong. Now, here's the thing. Vitamin D isn't just the sunshine vitamin that keeps your bones healthy. That's just the headline version. Underneath that, it acts almost like a hormone, influencing over 200 genes related to cell repair, growth, and inflammation control. Think about that for a second. 200 genetic switches that determine how well your body handles stress, strain, and regeneration. When your vitamin D levels are optimal, your muscles actually communicate better. They absorb calcium more efficiently, which is critical for contraction and relaxation. That means less cramping, better neuromuscular coordination, and faster recovery after exercise. But here's where most people miss the plot. Vitamin D doesn't work alone. You can take all the D3 supplements you want, sit out in the sun for hours, but if your vitamin K2 levels are low, you're not directing calcium where it needs to go. Instead of feeding your muscles and bones, that calcium can end up in the wrong places: arteries, joints, even soft tissues. And that's when problems start to appear: stiffness, tightness, sluggish repair. So, the partnership between D and K2 isn't just important, it's foundational. Vitamin K2 acts like the traffic controller. It tells your body, hey, move that calcium out of the bloodstream and into the bones and muscle tissue where it belongs. And by doing that, it frees up your muscles to recover more efficiently because your calcium metabolism stays in balance. That's something Omega-3 alone simply can't do. Omega-3 can help calm inflammation, sure, but it doesn't instruct your body how to utilize minerals or regulate muscle contraction at the cellular level. Now, what's really cool is that vitamin D also helps regulate testosterone and growth hormone, both essential players in muscle growth and repair. Studies have shown that athletes with higher vitamin D levels not only perform better, but also recover faster from strenuous training sessions. And when you combine that with the vascular benefits of K2, improved blood flow, reduced arterial stiffness, you're basically creating a recovery environment where nutrients can reach your muscle fibers more effectively during sleep. Imagine your body as a high-performance car. Vitamin D and K2 are like optimizing your engine and your fuel lines at the same time. The result: smoother recovery, stronger output, and less wear and tear. The beautiful part is, these vitamins aren't hard to get, they're just underestimated. Vitamin D3, ideally, you can get from sunlight, but realistically, a lot of us are indoors most of the day. Office work, pollution, sunscreen, all reduce your body's ability to synthesize D3. Food sources like salmon, egg yolks, and fortified milk help, but they rarely cover your full daily needs. That's why a moderate D3 supplement, always under supervision and ideally checked with blood work, can make a massive difference. And when you add K2 from sources like natto, cheese, egg yolk, or grass-fed butter, you unlock the full potential of vitamin D's power. Here's something I see a lot in clinic and training circles. People come in with chronic soreness, fatigue, and they're convinced they're not eating enough protein. But when you run their labs, you find their vitamin D levels are borderline low. They're not deficient enough to have classic symptoms, but low enough to affect muscle metabolism and immune repair. And that's the gray zone where performance and recovery get compromised, not because of lack of effort, but because of missing nutrients. Now, I'm not saying pop a handful of supplements and expect miracles overnight. The point is to create synergy. D3 primes your muscle cells to rebuild, while K2 makes sure the minerals fueling that process end up in the right place. That's the kind of biological teamwork your body thrives on. And when you get that combination right, you might notice something subtle but powerful. Your post-workout soreness doesn't linger as long, your sleep quality improves, your energy in the morning feels cleaner. That's your system working efficiently. And that's the real secret. Recovery isn't about shutting your body down to rest. It's about giving it the tools to work smarter while you sleep. When your vitamin D and K2 balance is dialed in, you're not just repairing muscle, you're building resilience from the inside out. It's quiet, it's steady, and it's sustainable, and that's what separates short-term results from long-term. Now let's talk about something people don't usually get right: how to actually use these vitamins in real life. Because, come on, it's one thing to know about vitamin D and K2, but it's a whole different story when it comes to getting them into your system in a way that really makes a difference. I've met so many people who start taking random supplements after watching a fitness video or reading an article, and then they come back a month later saying, "Doc, I don't feel any different." And that's usually because they're either taking the wrong form at the wrong time or without the nutrients that help them absorb it properly. The body is like a machine. Timing, dosage, and synergy matter just as much as what you take. Let's start with the foundation: food first. Nature designed food to give us nutrients in balanced combinations. If you're trying to get vitamin D naturally, the best sources are fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Just 2 servings a week can make a meaningful difference, especially when paired with sunlight exposure. But here's the catch: most of us aren't spending enough time outdoors. Between work, indoor gyms, and screens, our skin barely gets a chance to make vitamin D. That's why for many people, supplementation becomes necessary, especially during winter months or in areas with limited sunlight. If you're going the supplement route, always look for vitamin D3. That's the form your body naturally produces from sunlight. D2, which you'll sometimes find in cheaper supplements, isn't absorbed or utilized as effectively. Now here's where the real magic happens: when you take vitamin D3 with vitamin K2. These two work like partners. D3 increases calcium absorption, And K2 ensures that calcium goes where it's supposed to go, into your bones and muscles rather than soft tissues. Without K2, taking high doses of D3 over time can backfire by causing calcium buildup in the wrong places. The best time to take these vitamins with meals that contain healthy fats. Vitamins D and K are both fat soluble, which means they dissolve and absorb better when eaten with something like eggs, avocado, nuts, or olive oil. If you're popping them on an empty stomach, you're basically wasting their potential. And please, don't fall into the trap of taking megadoses without checking your blood levels. More isn't always better. Too much D3 can create imbalances, and too much K2 can interact with medications like blood thinners. Always start moderate and adjust with professional guidance. Now, for those of you who want to go the natural route without relying on pills, there are some pretty amazing foods you can focus on. For vitamin K2, fermented foods are your best friend. Things like natto, if you can handle the strong taste, certain cheeses like Gouda or Brie, and even egg yolks from pasture-raised hens. If you eat animal-based foods, grass-fed butter and organ meats also have small but meaningful amounts. The beauty of these foods is that they deliver not just K2, but other synergistic nutrients like zinc, magnesium, and CoQ10, all of which support muscle recovery and energy metabolism. When it comes to optimizing muscle repair overnight, timing plays a big role. You want to take these vitamins either right after your last meal or before bed, alongside some protein and complex carbohydrates. Why? Because that's when your body switches into repair mode. Your growth hormone levels rise, protein synthesis increases, and tissues begin rebuilding. Feeding your body the right nutrients at that time gives it the raw materials to work efficiently. Think of it like fueling a factory right before the night shift begins. You want the supplies stocked so production can run smoothly while you sleep. Another thing people don't talk about enough is balance. Vitamins don't work in isolation. If you're taking D3 and K2 but your magnesium levels are low, your body won't fully activate vitamin D. Magnesium acts as a cofactor. It's needed to convert vitamin D into its active form. So if you're serious about recovery, make sure your diet includes magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens, almonds, pumpkin seeds, or even a small serving of dark chocolate. And if you're training hard, staying hydrated with electrolytes that include magnesium and potassium can make a noticeable difference in how your muscles feel the next morning. I always tell my viewers and patients, think lifestyle first, supplement second. Get sunlight on your skin for at least 15-20 minutes a day when possible. Eat nutrient-dense whole foods. Prioritize sleep, hydration, and protein. Supplements should enhance your foundation, not replace it. Because when you combine the basics with smart nutrient timing, your body starts to do what it's naturally designed to do: recover, rebuild, and get stronger day by day. And you'll know it's working when you notice the little things. You wake up less sore after a tough workout, your sleep feels deeper, and your energy in the morning feels clean, not forced. That's what optimized nutrition feels like. It's not a sudden burst of energy or some dramatic overnight transformation. It's a steady improvement in how your body performs and heals. That's the real reward of using these vitamins the right way, not just taking them, but integrating them intelligently into your lifestyle so they can do their job efficiently. Performance, you know. Whenever we start talking about vitamins, supplements, and recovery hacks, there's one thing I always emphasize: safety first. Because let's be honest, in the fitness world, people love shortcuts. They see one study, one influencer, or one YouTube video claiming a nutrient can supercharge recovery, and suddenly they're doubling doses, stacking supplements, and creating more problems than solutions. The truth is, even the most beneficial nutrients can turn into trouble when used without balance. Your body isn't a laboratory experiment, it's a living, dynamic system that depends on precision, not overload. Here's the deal. Vitamins D and K2, when used correctly, can be incredibly powerful for muscle repair. But when used incorrectly, or when combined with certain medications or high-dose regimes, they can lead to real issues. For example, vitamin D is fat-soluble, meaning your body stores it. That's great when you're deficient, but it also means it can accumulate over time. If your blood levels go too high, and I've seen this happen with people taking massive doses daily for months, it can lead to hypercalcemia, a condition where there's too much calcium in the blood. And that's not something you want. It can cause fatigue, nausea, muscle weakness, even kidney problems. That's why I always tell people, test, don't guess. Before you start supplementing with vitamin D, get a simple blood test to check your baseline levels. Most people feel best when their vitamin D levels sit somewhere between 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter, but that range can vary depending on your health, genetics, and environment. Once you know your number, you can adjust accordingly. Don't just follow what's printed on the bottle or what someone online recommends. And then there's vitamin K2. While it's much harder to overdo, it's not without its caveats. If you're someone taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin, you've got to be extra cautious. Vitamin K helps regulate clotting factors in your blood, and if you're on medication designed to thin the blood, sudden increases in K2 intake can interfere with that balance. This doesn't mean you can't take it. It just means you need coordination with your healthcare provider. The goal is always to work with your biology, not against it. Now, here's something else a lot of people don't realize. Your recovery isn't only dependent on vitamins. It's the full spectrum of your habits: sleep, hydration, protein intake, mental health, and stress levels all play a role. I've seen people meticulously supplement with D3 and K2, yet they stay up until 2 a.m., scrolling through their phone or skip meals during the day. And then they wonder why their muscles still feel tight and sore. The human body doesn't care how perfect your supplement stack looks if the foundation isn't there. You can't out-supplement bad habits. So here's how I like to frame it. Think of your recovery like a house. The structure depends on solid materials. Your vitamins, minerals, and nutrients are the bricks. Your sleep, hydration, and protein are the cement that holds everything together. And your mindset, your consistency, that's the roof that keeps it all protected. If one of those pieces is missing, the whole structure weakens. The vitamins we're talking about are powerful tools, but they can't build the house alone. Let's also talk about individual variability. What works wonders for one person might barely make a difference for another. Age, gender, body fat percentage, hormone balance, gut health, all of these factors affect how your body absorbs and uses vitamins. Someone who's overweight might store more vitamin D in fat tissue, meaning less is available for active use. Someone with gut inflammation might not absorb fat-soluble vitamins efficiently at all. That's why listening to your body matters more than chasing trends. And while we're on the topic of listening to your body, pay attention to subtle signals. Persistent fatigue, weak immunity, slow muscle repair, brittle nails, or even mood swings can be early signs of nutritional imbalance. Sometimes it's not about taking more of something, it's about restoring balance. I often tell my patients, your body whispers before it screams. If you learn to listen when it's whispering, you won't have to deal with the shouting later. There's also the myth that supplements work instantly. I get it, we live in a world of instant gratification, but biology doesn't operate on Amazon Prime delivery speed. When you start optimizing your vitamins, it can take weeks or even months to notice a significant difference. Your cells need time to replenish their stores, your hormone levels need time to stabilize, and your tissues need consistent fuel. So, if you don't feel different after a few days, don't quit, stay consistent. Recovery and growth are slow, layered processes, not overnight transformations. And the last piece of this safety puzzle, always remember that natural doesn't automatically mean safe. Just because a vitamin comes from a bottle labeled organic or natural source doesn't mean you can take as much as you want. Dosage, quality, and formulation matter. Stick to trusted brands that are third-party tested. Avoid megadoses unless prescribed. And remember, your body thrives on balance, not excess. Because ultimately, good health isn't built on extremes. It's built on consistency and awareness. It's about giving your body exactly what it needs, no more, no less, and then stepping back to let it do what it's already brilliant at doing, healing, adapting, and growing stronger every single night while you sleep. Now let's get real for a second. The question everyone has after hearing about all these vitamins, recovery hacks, and nutritional science is simple. How long will it take before I actually feel the difference? And I love that question because it's so human. We want to know when the soreness fades, when the energy comes back, when our body finally starts responding the way it should. But here's the truth. Your body isn't a machine you can switch on with a pill. It's a living, breathing system that adapts slowly, intelligently, and in ways you might not notice right away. The changes often start quietly, deep inside your cells, long before you ever see them in the mirror or feel them in your muscles. When you start optimizing your vitamin D and K2 levels, you're essentially tuning the communication between your muscles, bones, and nervous system. That's not a flashy process. It's subtle, gradual, and incredibly important. You might notice small things first: waking up without that heavy stiffness in your legs after leg day, being able to push a little harder on your next workout, or simply not feeling as run down midweek. That's your body telling you, hey, I've got what I need now. But it's not just about feeling better, it's about building a stronger baseline. Recovery isn't measured by how quickly you bounce back once. It's measured by how consistently your body repairs and grows stronger over time. And when you fuel it right with proper vitamins, balanced nutrition, sleep, and hydration, you're not just repairing muscle, you're upgrading your entire system. Think of it this way: every night, your body runs maintenance. It fixes microtears in muscle fibers, clears out cellular waste, restores glycogen, and resets hormone balance. When your nutrient levels are dialed in, that maintenance runs like a well-oiled machine. But when you're deficient, even slightly, it's like trying to repair a building without enough materials. The structure might still stand, but it won't be stronger than before. That's why I always encourage people to pay attention to patterns, not just single days. If you start a new supplement routine, don't expect fireworks in 24 hours. Instead, watch your recovery over 2 to 4 weeks. Track your soreness, your sleep quality, your performance in the gym. Notice if your energy throughout the day feels smoother or if you recover faster between sets. Those small shifts are signs your system is finally getting what it needs. Another thing that happens, and this one's really interesting, is how your sleep begins to change when your recovery nutrition is balanced. You might not even realize how much muscle repair depends on quality sleep. Growth hormone peaks during deep sleep stages, and vitamins like D and K2 play roles in regulating that process, indirectly through hormone balance and calcium metabolism. So, when your levels normalize, you might find your sleep feels deeper, your dreams more vivid, and your mornings more refreshed. That's not placebo. That's biology working the way it's meant to. Now, let's talk about something I see all the time: people trying something new for a week, then giving up because they don't feel anything. That's like planting a seed and digging it up after 5 days to see if it's growing. Give your body time. Give it consistency. The vitamins we're talking about don't create quick spikes like caffeine or pre-workout drinks. They build a steady foundation for long-term performance. Think months, not days. It's like compounding interest in a bank account. Small deposits every day, big results over time. And here's where it gets exciting. Once your system stabilizes, recovery becomes almost automatic. You don't have to overthink it. You'll notice fewer plateaus, less inflammation, better endurance. Your workouts start to feel smoother, and you don't crash as easily. It's not because you're training harder. It's because your body's recovery capacity has improved. That's what these nutrients really give you: resilience. They make your system more adaptable, more efficient, and more capable of handling stress, whether it's physical or mental. One thing I always remind people of: track how you feel, not just how you look. We're so used to judging progress by the mirror or the scale, but recovery is an internal process. Keep a little journal or note on your phone. Log how sore you feel each morning, how well you slept, your mood, your focus. Over time, you'll start to see trends. That's real data from your own body, better than any fitness tracker. And remember, there's no one-size-fits-all timeline. Some people notice changes within a week, others in a month. Your diet, your stress, your genetics, your sunlight exposure, they all play a role. What matters is that you stay consistent and patient. Every day you feed your body the right nutrients, you're building a foundation for better health, stronger recovery, and greater longevity. It's not about chasing perfection. It's about progress, about becoming a little more in tune with what your body needs and giving it exactly that. Because when you do, something amazing happens. Your body starts rewarding you, not just with better workouts, but with better energy, better focus, and better overall well-being. And that's when you realize that real health isn't about extremes or quick fixes. It's about steady, intelligent care, giving your body the respect it deserves so it can perform the way it was always meant to. All right, so here's what I want you to take away. Don't put all your recovery hopes on omega-3 alone. These two vitamins, vitamin X and vitamin Y, can play a more direct, targeted role in accelerating overnight muscle repair, especially if your baseline intake is low. But they're tools, not miracles. If you try this approach, drop a comment after 2 weeks and tell me how your recovery feels. I'll do a follow-up video diving deeper into which populations benefit most, optimal combinations, and pitfalls to avoid. If you found value in this, hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications, because we're just getting started exploring smart, science-backed hacks for performance, health, and longevity. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay strong. I'll catch you in the next one.